All right, mate. So, JASMY here. You didn't see it bounce up to point two, and you didn't have a sell order. You might hold it for long term. Just wondering what I'm thinking. Um, Very interesting monthly candle here. You can see the monthly candle right down here. It's definitely got some sort of absorption going on. There's a huge monthly candle. Um, it is possible it goes higher, right? If this holds up pretty well, this could get some sort of reversal like that, because of the absorption here, because the team actually started to buy back some tokens, and that can spark a larger move, kind of just like you talked about. Hold it for a longer term, for a bigger move, for a bigger rally. That is possible. Now it's tough to know. As long as the team have stopped selling, right? That's as long as they're not using this to create liquidity. Like the team might buy back 1 million tokens, for example, but they might still have 10 million tokens to sell off. So they might be trying to, as long as the team are not being scammers and trying to use this as a get out, as an option to sell, then JASMY might be okay from here. Let's just look through it here. You can see the red 6 month candle here. It's not very good at this point, but it can still bounce up and create a decent wick. Let's just break it down here now. This 2 week candle, there's 11 days left. You kind of want to see this close strong, to be fair, and look for a continuation. Now, what I'm going to show you here is CRV done something almost identical. I shouldn't say identical, but this dropped 95%, 96% as well. CRV, I think it was 95%. But the bounce, actually, it did go for 2 or 3 weeks in a row, and we bounced up, and then there was a lot of consolidation. So at this point, you have to think that JASMY is going to do the same thing. This would bring us into a new 6 month candle. It would be maybe not even a 6 month candle. I shouldn't say that because that's quite a long time. It would bring us into a new 3 month candle that would break the price up. Let's just look at this here. If I just type that in like that, if we go back to a 3 month candle, just to see the way it looked like, and you can see here the way it played out. Let's just do this as well. So you can see what happened. There was actually some sort of a doji candle at the bottom. Now, are we going to get one of those? If we get a doji candle like this, it's fantastic, because this doji candle is a base. That's what it is. It's a base. It's not identical to JASMY, at least not yet. Is JASMY, maybe JASMY's not finished yet, and maybe next quarter is going to drop more. But if it does, I mean, you can see that it's still potentially a fantastic big buying area for a longer term hold if you're going to accumulate down here the way this bounced. Now, of course, the two coins are not the same, and they don't have to play out the same, but I'm just showing an example of what happens. Sometimes you need to put in a base, and we are down here now, and JASMY has just trying to bottom. But the thing is, quite often when this happens, there is a lot of basing. But if you're in early down here, you've seen the way CRV bottomed. It did continue to bounce, and then what it did is it's kind of sold off again here, and then it done this. So if you had bought down here when I said buy, and somehow if this holds down here, you might be in on the very lows on JASMY, if you're willing to hold out and see if that can happen. The other option is to obviously, for example, if you're there on JASMY, well, what if it did go lower and you added down here as well? I'm just throwing out figures as just an example. Your average price is still down very low, and over time you would have to think at some point, what if it does this? You have to think at some point it's going to do that. So it really depends if you want the quick profits, or are you open to giving this a chance to see if it can play out to the upside, or even accumulate more a bit lower. At this point, if the team is real and dedicated and not going to continue selling their shares and coins, well then this might actually be a bottom. If the team is going to continue to sell off, well, there might be one more dump in the next 3 month candle, just like CRV had. At this point, like you can see the sell volume. Look at the sell volume here. This is usually, well, it can be a bullish sign as long as we can kind of start holding in and around this area. You know, this can be a bullish sign for the next leg higher. But you know, we need to be careful. If price starts to break down from, say, the middle of here, you know, that's a bad sign. Now, I think my first buy was here, so it was a shame that I was, you know, even 1 day later, if I had held it 1 day later, you know, the entry point would have been fantastic down here. But unfortunately, it was just a little bit early. And now we're left in a situation where, I mean, ideally, a perfect situation, price should hold above this green line and see if this uptrend can continue. But I do expect some sort of a base here. The white 100 moving average coming down. You know, even if this does get some sort of sustained pump up into the blue 50, it's probably going to drop back down, you know, and kind of base for a while as this comes down here like this, something, you know, very roughly, and bounce out like that or whatever. I'm more trying. I didn't really mean to draw that down to new lows. It may go to new lows and it may not. But I just wanted to point out that there should be some sort of base here.